Today must be the hottest day I've ever experienced in beautiful Bloomington, Indiana, so I apologize if I look like I just ran a marathon. However, the sun is my friend because it keeps vampires and werewolves away, which is pretty important when we are talking about Nightfall martial law, which is the second installment in the Nightfall series. This is a standalone game, so you can start employing Nightfall from here, or you can use this as an expansion because everything you have in this set is perfectly compatible with the cards that you have in the previous set, so you would have more options and ways in which you can play the game. The game is pretty much the same mechanically, but it gives you new monsters, new minions, new cards, new actions and things that you can do. So let's take a look at what's inside the box. This is the box for the game. Nice cover illustration, definitely. You have the manual. This is a standalone game, so the manual tells you all you need to know to play the game. You don't need the original manual. The manual is pretty much the same as the one that you have in the original Nightfall. There really aren't many new things in this game. Then you have the game itself, and what you actually find in martial law is these cards here and these dividers. So the box is much larger than what you actually need, but this is good, and you can store the original game, which is what you see here, and then you still have extra room for, I don't know, storing snacks, books, babies. Just nice to have the extra room. Here you have the new orders with minions and actions, but again, this is a standalone game, so you also have all the basic cards. You have several starting decks, which are exactly like the ones in Nightfall with the same characters. You have a new set of wands. The wands also are mainly the same ones that you have in Nightfall, with only one exception. You have one new type of wand, which is the bleed. It is the only wand that can be used during combat. If you discard this card, you increase the strength of target minion by 1. So it is a good effect per se, but also it allows me to show you the only new mechanics in this game, which is the feed mechanics. Several cards will have a feed on them, and each feed includes an instruction. If you execute that instruction, then you can repeat the effect of the card, and this can be done several times, actually as many times as you repeat and execute the instruction. In this case, for example, the feed requires to discard one wound, so if you discard a wound, you can repeat this effect, and if you discard several ones, then you can repeat that effect several times, which means you can increase the strength of target minion by several points, which of course can be pretty good. And generally speaking, it is nice to have this new thing. It just adds more options and more depth to the game. Dum dum, dum dum, da 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 da. I decided to add some of these goth effects because it seems that people like those a lot these days, so that's gonna give me a lot more thumbs up. Okay, these are the new cards, the new orders. There are 24 decks, evenly divided in 12 new actions and 12 new minions, but clearly the minions are the cards that are going to attract most attention and the people are going to buy most often, because those are what you need to attack the other players and to defend yourself against their minions. This game is vampire heavy. Of the new minions, 6 are vampires, only 2 are werewolves, then you have 3 hunters and a ghoul. So definitely on the side of the vampires, people in Team Jacob are gonna be a little bit mad, but that's it. Vampires rock these days. A very important and interesting vampire is Maya Westerman. Her fact is to basically to recycle wounds into and chain them into influence. For each one that you discard, you gain 3 influences. This can be big. Imagine if you manage to discard 3 wounds. Also, don't be fooled by the fact that she looks so thin. She is pretty tough. She can absorb a lot of damage for you. She's a good bodyguard. Doesn't hit that hard, but when you combine the other powers that she has, she's a definitely interesting card. Roland LaFontaine. When he attacks you, draw 2 cards. That's good, but nothing to write home about. This guy's a little more interesting. Also the first Italian-American character in Nightfall, Carcery. When Jerome Carcery attacks, he remains in play after attacking. So he's not that strong, but he hits pretty hard. So if you have other minions that take damage for him, then he stays in play and he can keep doing damage for a long time. Then you have three vampires that are related to each other. The Zhang family. How cute is this? You know, families that hunt together and drink blood together, stay together. And each member of the Zhang family has a different ability. You have the pugilist that is able to target the minions that he attacks. It's a little situational because sometimes you do want to target a specific minion. For example, if you want to take that guy out of the game. Other times you don't care that much. Koi Zhang, she adds a point of strength to all the minions that are in play, and that is pretty good. You know, the other people can become pretty strong when she's around. Then you have this lady here, must be the mom, the aunt. You can discard the card at the end of combat to prevent her from being discarded, to keep her in place. So it is the same effect that this guy has, but you had to spend cards in order to fuel this effect and keep her in play. However, as you can see, she also has more stamina and she hits harder. So the game, this is one of the many examples that shows you how the game is well balanced. You have more powerful cards, but they also take resources in order to work. So a very interesting balance system here. And then you have the two werewolves in the game, and they are not particularly subtle in their attacks, but their job, which is to hit hard, that they can do well. You have this guy that has decent strength, decent defense, but the very interesting effect of dealing a wound to the target player on top of anything that he may be able to inflict with other means. Then this other guy, very strong. When he enters the game, the other players start immediately thinking of ways to eliminate him and or to use him against the owning player, because there are ways to do that. His effect is also pretty interesting because the owning player exiles one card from his hand, so you have a wound in your hand, the card is exiled. That's pretty good. And then I'm just going to show you a quick selection of actions. Bait and switch. Target order in the chain does not resolve its chain text, so this can be good. You can annul a powerful effect, which is, you know, before discard in the chain. Shining Cross, inflict damage on each player equal to the number of vampires they have in play. So this is one of the few cards in martial law that have specific effects that target a specific group, and since in this game you have many vampires, this is good. It's an interesting card. You didn't have any specific card like that in the original Nightfall. Forlorn Hope, exile target from your discard pile, so it's a pretty expensive one for you. When you're using it, you lose a target, but you inflict the damage on target player equal to its cost. So this is one of the cards that are available in martial law that require a big investment from you, but at the same time also can give you a big return. There are some of these cards that are pretty powerful, I would almost say extreme. This is another one. Headshot. Exile target minion, so the enemy loses a minion for good, it is exiled. But you also receive a wound and you have to exile this card that you spent the influence to buy, you had to think of a strategy to use it, so it is again another big investment with a big return. I like these cards because they can be extremely powerful, but you have to think twice or maybe even more before you use them. And this is one of the most interesting cards in the game, maybe the most interesting one. Hysteria. The target minion inflicts damage on itself and its controller equal to its strength. So the minion just goes berserk and first inflicts a lot of damage on the controller and then on himself. Usually that means that the minion kills himself. Now this is a fantastic card because it is a great balancing tool against cards such as these ones. These cards, when they enter play, they seem overpowerful, they seem they throw the game completely out of balance, but they are not. Somebody plays this dude and then somebody plays an Hysteria on them, then this guy deals 5 wounds on the owning player and then kills himself. Legion 10, so cheap, easy to use, etc, etc. Boom, 4 wounds on you who played it and you thought you were so smart doing so. And this is really what I like about Nightfall, and especially I would say martial law. I think this works even better. I think that here you even have better systems in which overpowerful cards turned out to be powerful only in certain situations, that is, if the players play them well. For example, if you manage to have this guy coming out when you've noticed that all these Hysterias have been used, and then you send him out because you attach it to the chain of the player before you send out, he attacks, and then he's discarded before somebody sends him against you. I like this a lot, really. I like the fact that if you play the game enough, you realize that there aren't cards that are always good or always bad. It is extremely situational. It really depends on the way the players play the game, which I love. I have seen the true face of this city. It is all criminality and child pornography and lousy vampires and ugly werewolves and... Hey, whom do you call an ugly werewolf? Arrgh. Yeah, because I noticed that these days people really like reviews with animations, so this is gonna be my most popular video ever. And I mean ever. To me, the original Nightfall was already a superb game, an absolutely outstanding deck building game. I didn't feel playing that game any need for any tweaks in the rule, any changes there. Of course, like in any game of this sort, after a while that you played, you just want more cards, more options, more combinations of minions and actions to enhance replayability. Well, now with martial law, we have that. Of course, the most fantastic thing is that you can repeat the experience of playing Nightfall with, in fact, more options. This is one of the cases that if you combine the two sets, you have way more than the sum of the parts. You really have a lot of variety. I think you can play this game for a long time, and new expansions will make that even more fantastic and mind-blowing. However, I haven't actually started doing that, which is mixing cards from the two decks together, from the two sets together. I played Nightfall Martial Law only as a standalone game so far because I wanted to get a sense of how it played, and I can say that yes, it is a perfectly strong, solid, fun, entertaining, deep game per se. If you want to start from martial law, that's a perfectly fine game. Just like with the other game, after a while you will want more things, and then at that point you can add the other set. I just like the martial law Nightfall series. I think it really is, they are games that have a strong personality. Probably in the deck building family, these are the games that have the most unique feel to it. They really feel different from any other deck building out there. So I really recommend the Nightfall series, and either the basic set or this one. They would be fine choices. If you get both, well, even better.